The promise of 2024's Dungeons & Dragons revision was pretty simple. Take the world's most popular role-playing game and make it even better. The goal was to fix lingering problems, sand down the rough edges, and deliver a smoother and more balanced and more fun version of what we already loved about 5th edition. It was supposed to be an easy tune-up, and with a solid decade of community feedback, you'd think the designers would have a crystal clear roadmap for what people were asking for. So, what went wrong? Because as more of the new rulebooks have been rolling out, a different story has been bubbling up in the community for the better part of 2 years now. A story of baffling changes, weird overcorrections, and fixes that seem to miss the entire point of the original problem. The rules have been out for the better part of 2 years, but there's still a growing sense of unease. Today we're breaking down the 5 biggest mechanical missteps and one baffling half problem that leaves the new D&D feeling inconsistent and in some places a little bit unfinished. But first, who am I? My name is Sir Bearsworth, guiding creators, shaping worlds, and forging heroes. And I want to start off this video with a big disclaimer. I'm personally a fan of a lot of the changes that 2024/5.5, however they want to call it. I love the game of Dungeons & Dragons, but because I love it so much, you should be allowed to call out the things that still feel out of place. Things that are sticking points and are pervasive problems throughout the community. Let's start with the oldest argument in the book, the Marshal to Caster divide. For years, the story has been the same. At low levels, the fighter is a wrecking ball, but by level 11, the wizard is bending reality around them while the fighter is, well, they get to attack another time. The 2024 rules promise to tackle this head on, and its big solution was weapon masteries. And to be fair, I think weapon masteries is a fantastic idea. They give martial characters way more tactical options in combat, letting them push, trip, and gain advantage on their enemies. It's a definite improvement on the moment-to-moment gameplay of being a marshal. They managed to successfully raise the floor, but they did almost nothing to the ceiling. And the heart of the problem has never been about damage output. It's more about just having agency in the world. While the 2024 rules gives fighters a slightly better tactical view, spellcasters are still operating in a completely different dimension, sometimes literally. A high-level wizard can teleport across continents, raise the dead, and reshape memories. A high-level fighter can maybe have a better chance at tripping a guy. The revision tinkered with the core of combat for marshals, but it did very little to expand much further beyond that. So while the gap in raw power and narrative impact hasn't shrunk, at least the marshals now have a more interesting pair of binoculars to watch the casters fly further and further away. Next up, some mechanics in game become more than just rules. They become an identity. For a huge number of 5th edition players, the high-risk, high-reward gamble of the Sharpshooter and Great Weapon Master feats, well, they were the heart and soul for many a character build. And we all know the feeling. The moment you look at the DM and say those magical words, I'm taking the -5 to hit. You hold your breath, the table goes quiet, and you roll the die. It was a moment of pure tension, and when it paid off, pure exhilaration. It was a playstyle, it was thrilling, and in the 2024 rules, it's gone. That main trade-off mechanic was removed from both feats. And again, to be clear, the new versions aren't useless. They still offer a boost in damage, but it's tied to your proficiency bonus. They replace that moment of a high-stakes gamble with efficient math. The change was made in the name of balance, to smooth out the damage curve. But in doing so, the designers ripped out the very thing that made these feats so beloved. It feels less like a nerf to power and more like a nerf to fun. They took a roller coaster and decided it was a little too wild, and replaced it with a nice, straightforward monorail. The name of the feats is still there, but many feel that the soul is gone. Now, those are just the first 2 points. And before we move on, I want to hear from you. What do you think about the changes to martial characters? Is nerfing the big feats a good move for balance, or are they just kind of taking away the fun? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this breakdown, consider subscribing. But on to point number 3. I think this one everyone's gonna have an opinion on. Of all of the class changes, none has sparked more controversy than the change to Paladin. For a decade, the Paladin's defining feature was Divine Smite. The ability to pour divine energy into a successful hit for a huge burst of radiant damage. It was the class's iconic move. The old way was simple. You hit and you choose to spend a spell slot to smite. If you got a critical hit, you could decide to smite after the fact, doubling the dice and creating one of the most memorable high damage moments in the game. The 2024 rules have gone and changed this completely. Divine Smite is now considered a spell and it costs a bonus action. Now you can still use it immediately after you hit, and you can still apply it to your crits. But the main problem is twofold. First, because it uses a bonus action, you can only use 1 smite per turn. Second, it now has even more competition with other spells and actions you can use as a paladin. While paladins do get 1 free use per long rest, this change fundamentally changes the class's action economy. The paladin's role shifts from a divine supernova, capable of ending a major threat in a single round of multi-smiting goodness, to more of a metered and sustained damage dealer. The holy warrior of old has become more of a celestial accountant, and for many, the game is poorer for it. Let's give the designers some credit though. They clearly heard a lot of the feedback that many of the spells in 5th edition were just out of control. In the 2024 revision, they took aim at some of the worst offenders. They reworked notorious summoning spells like Conjure Animals, you know, the one that would bog down combat, and adjusted other spells that led to unintended outcomes. But honestly, these changes feel less like a systematic overhaul and more of just plugging holes in a dam that's about to burst. The problem was never just one spell. It wasn't just Twilight Sanctuary, it wasn't just Conjure Animals. The problem is the spellcasting ecosystem. The core issue remains. Spellcasters, by their very nature, get tools that can completely bypass pillars of the game. A single spell can end a social encounter, nullify a exploration challenge, or stop a combat before it even starts. While martials got new ways to hit things, casters still keep their fundamental ability to rewrite reality. The revision performs some necessary spot nerfs, which is good, but it seems to have failed to address the wider power structure. It's like putting a speed limiter on a couple of Ferraris, but still letting them race on the track where everyone else is on foot. The cleanup was welcome, but it didn't fix the real imbalance. The 2024 Monster Manual was meant to be a huge quality of life improvement for DMs. The goals were great. Make stat blocks easier to read, make challenge ratings more reliable, and streamline monsters' abilities. And on paper, they did a lot of that. The math is certainly cleaner. But now that we've had 2 years to play through with this stuff, I think we all started to realize that monsters are a little bit sanitized. In the name of streamlining, a lot of flavor and unique abilities have fallen to the wayside. For instance, a design trend that a lot of people are starting to notice now is that a lot of monsters that used to force a saving throw, like a wolf's bite potentially knocking you prone, now just happen automatically on a hit. This certainly speeds up combat, but it can also make the world feel so much more arbitrary and remove a player's agency in the moment. It no longer matters if your high-strength barbarian should be able to shake off that wolf no problem. If he got bit, he's gonna sit. When this design choice is applied more broadly, monsters can feel less like unique creatures and more like predictable bags of hit points with standardized effects. Adding to this, many DMs feel that a good deal of that lore and those details that helped spark so much inspiration in us has been condensed or cut away. just to make room for cleaner layouts and better art. Don't get it twisted, I love the art in the new books. But they may have fixed the monster math, but they may have damaged the monster fantasy. Encounters might be more balanced, but are they as memorable? For many, the answer is a resounding no. This very final one here is what I'm referring to as a half point, because it's not a single rule, but more of a feeling. It's a design philosophy that runs through all of 2024's revisions, and I think it helps explain a lot of the other issues we've been talking about here. The new D&D feels overwhelmingly like it's meant to be this perfectly balanced, symmetrical, and tactical combat game. Everything seems optimized for combat. Class identities have been streamlined. Some would say homogenized, just to ensure no one outshines someone else in the midst of initiative. And maybe the biggest casualty to all of this is character backgrounds. In 5e, your background was a narrative foundation for your character. It gave you story hooks, role-playing cues, and a place in the world. In 2024's version, while those elements are still there, the new primary mechanical function of a background is to provide you a starting feat. This reframes a core role-playing choice as just another thing to min-max. The game feels less like a toolbox for collaborative storytelling, and more like a finely tuned war game. It's more polished, it's more symmetrical, and arguably it's easier to balance. But it also feels a little colder, a little more mechanical, and maybe a little less concerned with the epic stories that we're all trying to tell. So, are the 2024 rules a complete disaster? Of course not. In many ways, they delivered on their promise. The game is more standardized, more polished, and for brand new players, it's tons easier to pick up. But for those of us who loved or even got our starts in 5th edition, the changes feel a little bittersweet. In the process of sanding down all of those rough edges, it feels like the designers also flattened some of the game's most beloved and memorable peaks. The thrill of a high-risk gamble, the explosive power of a divine warrior, the terrifying unpredictability of a weird monster. Many of these things have been trimmed back for the sake of simplicity and balance. The result is a game that feels safer, but also smaller. It reflects that a design choice was made to prioritize a cleaner user experience over the chaotic and emergent fun that defines so many moments in D&D. But that's just my take. What do you all think? Do you love the new changes? Do you miss the old mechanics? Did the designers fix the right things, or did they lose a little bit of the plot? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive getting into the nitty-gritty of the game design, think about subscribing for more. And if you enjoyed, make sure to hit the like button as well. But that's enough yapping from me. My name is Sir Bearsworth, guiding creators, shaping worlds, and forging heroes. And I'll see you all at the table. Bye.